questions. All that coming up. Here now is the NASA video.
The homecoming for Prokopiev, Gerst, and Anand Chancellor will begin with the undocking of the Soyuz vehicle from the Rosviet module. The undocking to occur after about a 90-second opening of the hooks. Springs on both sides of the interface will push off against one another to enable physical separation of the vehicle at 7:40 p.m. Central Time this evening. There will be a period of about 2 orbits for the Soyuz to separate to a safe distance away from the station for that deorbit burn that will last 4 minutes and 36 seconds in duration. The deorbit burn to occur at 10:10 and 52 seconds p.m. Central Time tonight. About 28 minutes later, the pyrotechnic separation of the 3 sections of the Soyuz will take place. And again, the focus of attention is only on that center section, the descent module, that will be traveling in the direction of the heat repulsion that will be ablated through a heat shield at the bottom of the spacecraft. That heat shield will be jettisoned a short time after the vehicle reaches the lower regions of the atmosphere, where the command will be sent to open up first a drogue chute and then a main parachute. The vehicle then, about 15 minutes after chute deploy, will settle down to a landing on the of Kazakhstan just a second or two after the braking rocket, as they are called, on the bottom of the Soyuz vehicle fire just an instant before touchdown in a final buffering maneuver for the crew on board. And they will be back on Earth at that point. The landing currently is scheduled at 11:03 and 21 seconds p.m. Central Time, 12:03 and 21 seconds a.m. Eastern Time on the 20th, tomorrow. And that will correspond to 11:03 and 21 seconds a.m. Kazakhstan time on December 20th. The landing site coordinates currently are scheduled to be 47.20 degrees north latitude, 69.35 degrees east longitude, about 87 miles southeast of the remote town of Zhezkazgan, where the Russian search and recovery forces, along with NASA and European Space Agency personnel, have been housed since very early this morning, when they flew from the staging city of Karaganda to the northeast of Zhezkazgan in a Russian Antonov 26 aircraft. They arrived in Zhezkazgan, where they have spent the night their time, during the day U.S. time, before they are scheduled to make their way to the Zhezkazgan airport a few hours from now to begin boarding helicopters that will take them in sequential fashion down to the landing zone. Again, that landing zone about 87 miles to the south east of the town of Zhezkazgan. The weather.
We're looking live now outside the International Space Station, where 3 astronauts, technically not all astronauts, one's a Canadian, one's an American, one's a Russian, are about to depart in that vessel you see right there. They're going to push back from the International Space Station on their way home. Let's take a listen in now to NASA coverage.
Open. This will take about 90 seconds, at which point the springs on both sides of the docking interface between the Soyuz and the Rosviet module will push off against one another to create the physical separation that will mark the beginning of Expedition 58 on the International Space Station.
We are standing by for the undock.
При физическом расхождении объектов контролируйте
separation
на поверхности стыка. Как я вам говорил, по камере и по выколу.
Use both the camera and the video display, video system. Copy. We can see very clear image on the camera without any noise or anything else. We can see everything very well. Copy.
We're standing by for physical separation of the Soyuz MS-09 from the International Space Station, and there it is.
I can confirm the
Undocking confirmed at 7:40 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, right on time, as the International Space Station flew 252 miles over southeastern Mongolia.
The indicator mode is not illuminated anymore. SSVP mode is illuminated. We can see the docking node. We don't see any debris or anything else on the docking mode. It's clean. Copy.
GSO 1 and 2 есть.
GSO 1 and 2 are confirmed. Copy. Please start the timer.
GSO вообще она есть, что?
Yes. GSO 1 is illuminated. Please start the timer, Sergey.
And there they go. We've got 3 more fellow human beings on their way home from the International Space Station. They will be landing in the coming hours, and we will be back with live coverage, courtesy of NASA TV, later this evening when they touch down. That will be kicking off during the 10 o'clock Eastern hour with a touchdown expected just after midnight Eastern. So if this is your cup of tea, keep it here on the YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope feeds for the Carolina Weather Group. And here's a look at Jared Smith, who is intrigued a lot by this. Let's bring back in Jared Smith and the rest of the Carolina Weather Group. What'd you think of that, Jared?
You know, it's always cool. You know, it's remarkable that we've had that outpost up there for 20 years now, getting close to. I mean, it's been up there as long as I remember at this point. I mean, and it's still just astonishing. What's astonishing about Soyuz is that is a very hard landing. Mm-hmm. I remember being I was at a NASA social for the last space shuttle, actually, and one of the questions was asked to, I want to say it was Doug Wheelock, Astro Wheels on Twitter, great guy. It was like, what is the roughest part of spaceflight? He's like, on the shuttle, the roughest part is going up. That's the hardest part, because going down is just like basically like landing a plane. But on the Soyuz, it's coming down because that thing is tumbling, and you land in Kazakhstan. You are not splashing down. You are landing on just desert.
And it's going to be a very rude welcoming back. It's going to be like 11 degrees Celsius. So what is that, 40 degrees Fahrenheit? I mean, here's the animation to show exactly what you were just describing.
Will push off against one another.
And you're right. It's a tight little capsule. I mean, not that space travel is roomy, but if we talk long enough, this animation will get to that touchdown, and it's really just this little thing and a parachute bringing you back to Earth.
Yeah, I mean, the space shuttle was freaking Ritz-Carlton compared to what the Soyuz is, and I mean, the Soyuz, keep in mind, that's 1960s technology. The Soyuz is 1960s, 1970s technology. The Russians are still using it. It's the equivalent of if the Americans were still using the Apollo program.
Yes, but we got to give them this credit. At least they can get us to and from the International Space Station, because we can't do that right now.
Well, we're close. We're getting there, but you know, SpaceX is getting us close. But yes, that's correct. We've been hitching ever since 2011. We've been hitching a ride with on the Soyuz with the Russians, and I like to be a fly on the wall in some of those capsule conversations. I'm sure it's been. I hope it's not been awkward. But
it's very interesting in today's political age. We don't want to talk politics, but you're right. Our ride to and from the International Space Station is the Russians, Scotty.
Yeah, it still amazes.
Go ahead.
It still amazes me, like you just said, James, that we're going to see this touchdown a little bit after midnight East Coast time. It would take us longer to fly from North Carolina to California. You know,
there's no TSA pre-check or anything.
Yeah, it amazes me how quickly they can get back here to Earth. I mean, and they're up in space right now. I mean, that's just